Right, so Kris Habermehl did some deduction through mathematics. It's ambulance 66, which would be based out of Chinatown. Usually a firehouse there. Firehouse are paired with paramedics. Marie's going to do a quick Google on that. So could have been directly from a firehouse, could have been at a firehouse after a run being 66 was dispatched to a home. They pick up a citizen, take a citizen to a hospital, then comes back to its firehouse of origin. Yep. Marie's got some information on that.
Yeah, the address we have found for where the ambulance was taken is in Chinatown, kind of near the intersection, I would say closest to where Archer Avenue and Princeton come together at Cermak.
Okay, so 212 West Cermak Road is where Marie has deduced it to on Google, and my producer is now telling us it was indeed stolen from the firehouse. Okay. Stolen from the CFD firehouse.
This is engine 8, truck 4 here.
Engine 8, truck 4.
Yes.
So, and usually, hey, listen, usually a lot of these times emergency vehicles, the keys are left in them. But what happened from the beginning to end was quite remarkable, and Kris Habermehl had a bird's eye view the whole time. Following it as it developed, it was a rather high-speed chase at first, eventually slowed down because the wheel blew. It was on its rim. Marie, what do you got?
We have Kris back up in Chopper 2. Kris, what an incredible takedown we just watched.
This is something you don't see every day, of course. Thankfully, an individual that stole a fire department ambulance, and of all things from the Chinatown Firehouse. That's Engine 8, Truck 4, Battalion 2, Ambulance 66 there, which is basically right at Wentworth and Cermak. Those of you who are familiar with the movie Backdraft, that was the firehouse where that engine was headquartered there, the fictional Engine 17. So basically, this individual stole this ambulance. The ambulance 66 was driven out along I-55, and there was a pursuit that began around Cicero Avenue on I-55 southbound. And what occurred after that was that basically about a dozen or so police vehicles joined in the pursuit. They kept all bystanders back at a distance. And this pursuit continued all the way until a little bit south of Gardner, where this individual pulled over for the first time because the left rear tires were completely gone. And it had been without at least one tire for quite a while, and then the other tire blew. And when that happened, it lowered the entire weight of the ambulance down on the rims. And when the rims started to fall apart, the ambulance started to slow. And this individual that you see in the blue, surrounded by state police troopers, he opened the window and was gesturing out the window with what appeared to be a cell phone. He yelled at the trooper that came up next to him. Trooper backed off a little bit, and that individual just hit the accelerator, gunned it, and started heading south towards Pontiac. So that's where basically we're at Dwight right now. We got to past the second Dwight exit, and the ambulance just couldn't take it anymore. The rear axle, the rear drivetrain, that whole assembly heated up to the point where it was useless. This individual had no choice but to pull over, and he pulled over on the left shoulder, got out, and the troopers that surrounded him at gunpoint there ordered him to put his hands up, which he did. He was initially, he was very cooperative, and then all of a sudden he just decided he had enough of that and decided to run off. Turned his back on troopers and hightailed it across the grassy center median to where they're at right now. We've got an ambulance, looks like from Dwight Fire, is coming up for that individual here. No doubt he's got some issues other than just medical that are going on. May have some mental issues here as well. Obviously, anybody who takes a fire department ambulance and runs everybody on a pursuit like this for a long distance has got something more at work there, so hopefully this individual gets the help he needs. But nobody else was injured in this. He's probably scraped up a little bit because, as I said, he ran away from the officers, went across the center median, and tried to hijack a vehicle going northbound. There was a quad cab pickup truck towing a trailer. He tried to get in by way of the right side door handles. That individual hit the accelerator. He fell off, and then officers were able to swarm into him and make the apprehension. So the K-9 unit was involved. About 16 to 18 officers were here. and that individual had to be tackled literally because he was out in the live lanes of traffic on northbound I-55 here at Dwight. So traffic came to a halt. There are troopers all over the place. They didn't have their cars in place on the northbound side, obviously, because everything was on the southbound side. So they literally had to stretch themselves bodily across the northbound lane, stop traffic, and take this individual into custody. So because of the fact that there was force that had to be used, this individual was taken to the ground on a kind of a rough surface. He was taken down on the shoulder of the roadway with all that aggregate down there. And so he's in custody, and the medics are going to take a look at him right now and see what his major complaints are. But the pursuit has terminated, and let's go ahead and while they're taking a look at him, we'll have Craig go back wide on our shot here. Let's show both directions of Interstate 55. Everything is shut down here. We've got the Dwight medics parked counterflow. They're southbound and the northbound lanes of I-55. In the upper corner there, you'll see a kind of an orange pickup truck with a trailer on the northbound side. That was the individual that this person tried to carjack. He ran across in front of him and tried to pull the door open, and that didn't work. But that individual is going to give some eyewitness testimony and give a statement to the officers there. That's in the top portion of your frame. And then ambulance 66, let's take a look at this poor thing. Ambulance 66, the rear axle is basically destroyed because of the heat coming up from the wheels that are missing on the other side there. The tire's completely out. This side looks okay, but looks are deceiving. Running on the rims only on the left rear where the tires, because it's got duals on either side, both dual tires came off on their upstream from this quite a number of miles back. And as that was being driven on the rims just kept grinding themselves further and further and further down to where they became completely unusable. So officers have left their squad cars blocking the southbound lanes of I-55 here at Dwight. The northbound side is physically blocked by officers here standing outside there, so nothing is getting by on Interstate 55 until the medics go ahead and get this individual checked out. And of course, this individual, if he's going to be going to the hospital, he's going to be taken in custody to the hospital. So there will be troopers obviously following the ambulance, and no doubt somebody in the back of that ambulance to give a little bit of extra muscle there. So that's what is happening here. It looks as though the individual is being placed in custody into the ambulance, and he's sitting on the back step there. Here comes the cot. So they're going to bring the cot out now and put that individual on there. He's looks like a younger male suspect. He's kind of thin build. He has got a watch cap on there and the blue jacket, and still no real motivation as to why this individual, he may have told the officers down below, but we're not aware of it as of yet. What was going through this guy's head? I mean, why does he have it? Why did he take it? Where was he going with it? What did he intend to do with it? Did he just view it as a crime of opportunity? Did he happen to see it there at the Chinatown station? These ambulances and fire trucks and whatnot, fire trucks usually are started with a push button, and ambulances have a key in there. And it's not as though it's like your car at home or out in a parking lot. The key's going to be in the ambulance. So he could have just gone in there, saw it, decided, hey, it may have been out on the apron. We don't know yet. So we need to hear also from not only law enforcement, but also the fire department exactly how that individual was able to get a hold of that ambulance and then take it on such a long pursuit. Fortunately, nobody has been hurt. This individual's been roughed up a little bit, and of course, there may be also some mental issues that are going on here that may factor in to why this person took the ambulance in the first place. So looks like Dwight medics are going to go ahead and take him off to an area hospital, get him checked out in custody, and there's some other work that has to be done because that ambulance is not going to be moving under its own steam. So tow truck's going to have to come out here, and you can see the damage to the left rear. The left rear duals are gone, absolutely gone. So more questions than answers, but nobody got hurt, and this chase is over near Dwight. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris.
Chris, we appreciate it. Our thanks. So obviously now the suspect in this case, Chris has identified at least a male being taken in by Dwight paramedics and probably a couple officers might need to be looked at too. Now here's the end, Marie. Take a look at this. So this is after he's been running on double rims, basically. 66, both the rear passenger rims. See, he went under a fence there after he got out. It looks like he's going to surrender, and then he takes off.
Right. That was, and this was incredible. Looking, I would assume, to try to escape somehow, to get in that car. He didn't. This is where troopers plus a canine come by and are able to take him down.
Great takedown. Unbelievable takedown, and I know this from having some tactical friends. Now you can also see there he loses something. You see something flies out of his hand. We don't know if that's a cell phone, if it's a weapon, but this is basically called a smother. This is where everyone just puts all their body weight on a suspect in hopes that they eventually just relent, and that's apparently what happened here.
What we have learned is this ambulance was taken from CFD Engine 8. This is near Cermak and Wentworth sometime this afternoon. And Dwight, we were just looking up how far it is. It's 75 miles away. So they drove for at least, according to Google, an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, that's how long this chase must have gone once they realized that he was on the run.
Yeah, and you have to add some travel time into that. Let's add into that, losing, multiple tires riding on a rim. So this thing, hour and a half, 2 hours, quite a remarkable, as I was saying earlier, LAS.
Very.
This is not something we're accustomed to in Dwight on a Monday
Certainly
on
not.
I-55, but it is indeed what happened. Can we show the climax once again, control room, of how this thing all wrapped to an end and how it all played out? So here, suspect gives up. 66, he took it from Chinatown, gives up here, I-55, but then he steps over that to create a barrier there, steps over that fence.
Just a little.
Hesitates. So here there's a brief negotiation, and then bam, he takes off. And this is remarkable. Guy just driving home, northbound the other way, with a trailer there. And that's a remarkable pursuit. And just tactically, I think if you look at this, just from a tactics perspective, a perfect takedown with what appears to be. Eventually he stood up. An uninjured suspect, which is how they want it.
Yeah, we appreciate you've been watching this on our streaming network, CBS News Chicago. And then we're seeing again the end of that clip. They held him down there for quite some time, I will say, until that ambulance was called. And that was our last look at the suspect was getting loaded into that ambulance. We'll continue to have full coverage of this throughout our evening and on our 10 o'clock newscast.
Yeah, a remarkable scene. All is well. Apparently that has ended safely after that high-speed chase that took place some hour and a half today on this Monday afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Brad Edwards.
And I'm Marie Saavedra. Your local news continues right now here on our digital streaming network, CBS News Chicago.